Well done, everybody. You made it through the first week. It was wonderful to see all those videos. I was amazed to see the quality. How difficult was it to make that video? Well, this week we're going to look at how to make your crowdfunding campaign stand out. In this section, we're going to focus on how to create an attention-grabbing crowdfunding campaign. Now, remember, there's no magic formula, but we can learn from what other people have done. Other people who have set up successful crowdfunding campaigns. Now we're going to move on to potato salad. What? Pardon? I thought you said potato salad, Clint. That's what you're thinking right now, right? Yes, I did say potato salad. Zach, Danger Brown, raised over $55,000 from nearly 7,000 people on a crowdfunding platform called Kickstarter. All to make the humble potato salad. Now, this, I grant you, sounds absolutely ridiculous. What made this crowdfunding campaign stand out, do you think? Well, first of all, we're all thinking, why didn't I think of that? It's unique because it's so far from normal, and people want to be a part of some sort of crazy idea generally. See, we're still looking at conceptualization this week. Coming up, we're going to look at what will make your crowdfunding campaign pop. How will it stand out from the crowd? Think about it. Now, I realize that a lot of you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all this new information. But if you just dream with me for one moment, imagine you could create a successful campaign and have over 100 people help you to reach your target. You will have developed a completely new source of revenue. And in these times, that is golden. So we're going to look at 5 tips to make your crowdfunding campaign stand out. The first tip is eyes on. Eyes on is key. See, a crowdfunding campaign, as its aim, has to be viewed by as many people as possible. Remember that funnel we spoke about in the first week? The aim of a crowdfunding campaign isn't to raise the most funds, but instead to be seen by the most amount of people. So it has the potential to raise tons of funds. This means you'll have to ask your initial supporters and contacts to share your crowdfunding campaign on their social media sites. This falls under managing your campaign. When your campaign launches on the crowdfunding website that ITL will provide, you will need to invest a significant amount of time figuring out how you're going to get eyes on. So let's think about it. What ways can you use to get eyes on your campaign? Well, this is the second tip. It's all in the title. It's all in the title. Creating a title that is eye-catching is key to getting eyes on. However, choose a title that links to your project concept objective. Avoid gimmicky names that do not relate to the project at all. The name is how you get people to read on. Further, capture those eyes and keep them. Describe in your name why they should fund your project when you are writing the headline or title. Try to bring in also the aspirational aspects of your campaign. Things that will get people excited and engaged with your plan. So tip number 1 was eyes on. Tip number 2 was it's in the title. The tip number 3 is possibly the most important tip in all of these. Demonstrate your passion. See, people aren't going to give you money, and let's be honest, this is a major aim of our campaign, unless they feel connected to your great project concept. In the crowdfunding world, it's important to highlight your story, because the entire concept of this form of fundraising is about narrating your purpose. In other words, can you in a sentence describe what it is that you're trying to do. The crowdfunding world is driven by stories, which are in turn driven by your purpose statement. If you can't summarize your story in 1 or 2 sentences, you'll struggle to bring that across to others. Present your story and the reasons for your cause or project concept, and demonstrate to your audience how passionate you are about your cause or project in your campaign. Because if you are not passionate about your project concept, it is unlikely that your funders will be. In demonstrating how passionate you are, it helps your funders believe in the project concept. Once they are believers in the project and passionate about it, you will have caused them to be an army of people who promote your campaign. A compelling story is key, and it's important to tell the story passionately so that you can engage your funders. Strive to create a content that adds value to the life of the person looking at the content and leaves them wanting more, wanting them to come back. Posting pictures and videos and inspirational content are great ways to engage funders, who are more likely to share this kind of content with other followers. The key ingredients of a compelling story are that you need a group of individuals who will be transformed through the story. You'll need a goal. What do you seek to transform in this group of individuals? And the goal must answer these questions. What physical changes will happen as the community is transformed? And secondly, what this community will be able to do that they couldn't do now? And thirdly, what will the community have? And fourthly, what will they think once the transformation has taken place? And finally, what other areas will be impacted in the lives of this community? It should also highlight the obstacles in the way of this transformation, and the story should also emphasize how the money would help remove these obstacles. Think of an example with me for a moment. Can you imagine a community that would need a well? You could develop a compelling story using the need for a well, couldn't you? You could tell of how they would now have 2 harvests instead of 1. They would be able to have access to clean water and not catch the waterborne diseases, things like that. Now we're going to move on to the 4th tip. So we've had 3 tips so far, and this is our 4th one. Visual content is key. Visual imagery is much more compelling than text-based content. A video is also more likely to appear on the top of someone's social media feed. The project initiator, namely you, should appear in the video, even if you're camera shy like I was, because no one else will be able to translate your passion for the project concept as well as you. Now, here are some tips for making great videos, making great visual content. Keep it short is key. No more than a minute, a maximum. Remember, we live in an age where people have tiny attention spans. So stay away from the 20-minute epic film. Make sure you can summarize, this is the 2nd tip, make sure you can summarize your project in 1 sentence, because that will help you stay short in your video, because your video will have one big idea. Remember, this is the 3rd tip, introduce yourself and make a personal connection between you and your potential funders. Clearly spell out the goals of your project and briefly explain the background, emphasizing the experience that makes you most qualified to run the project. Provide the audience with a call to action. Tell them how they can become involved. And here's the final tip. Don't look too professional. Make sure that your video doesn't look too professional. Remember, the quality does not matter as much as the content. Work hard on the content preferably. What does, however, matter is sound quality. Make sure you can be heard, because people won't listen unless you can get a good sort of sound going through that video. So the visual quality isn't that important. Our final tip is trying to get your funders, your initial funders, to engage in peer-to-peer fundraising. Try to encourage your early adopters, your early funders, to start peer-to-peer fundraising on behalf of your project. Peer-to-peer fundraising is a type of crowdfunding where individuals take up the cause of the project and raise money on your behalf. Assuming that your story and that your visuals are compelling, your early funders can challenge others to support your project on a peer-to-peer fundraising site. They can also undertake physical challenges and ask people to sponsor them, those donations coming to you. Again, it's about managing your campaign throughout the campaign, making sure you're getting as much exposure as possible, getting as many eyes onto your campaign as possible. What do you think, if you think about it, what do you think of those 5 tips that we've just looked at? Which do you think is the most important? Well, I want to suggest to you the most important one is demonstrating your passion. See, the success or failure of your campaign is driven by your passion to see your project concept come to life. Developing an eye-catching title, getting people to look at your campaign, shooting a video, motivating people to raise money on peer-to-peer network fundraising sites, all hinges on your passion for your community, the one that you wish to transform through your crowdfunding campaign. So let me ask you, how passionate are you? How passionate are you about the plan that you have? Well, we're going to move on to the exercises. So the exercises this week are a little bit simpler, I think, than last week. The first one is simply write out your project concept. So what you're going to do is you're going to write out your project concept and in no more than 200 words describe what you'd like to do and also explain why it's unique. Remember, why it's going to stand out from the rest. And then I've put 2 links to watch successful crowdfunding campaigns that have happened in the past. Take a look at them, see what you can learn from them. And then finally, on the Google Classroom forum, you're going to present your 1-sentence description of your project concept. And you're going to invite the others on that Google Classroom to engage with it and give you feedback. So remember, there's 3 things. You're going to write, you're going to watch, and you're going to engage. So you're going to write your 200-word crowdfunding campaign project concept and describe how it is unique, what makes it stand out from others. Then you're going to watch those 2 other crowdfunding campaigns that I've put in the link. And finally, you're going to put your 1 sentence, your 1 big idea for your crowdfunding project concept on that Google Classroom forum so that others can engage with it and give you some feedback. Remember, it's also about getting eyes onto it and making sure you're on the right track. And you can engage in sort of mutual learning on that particular Google Classroom forum. Until next week, we'll see you. Have a good time.